So, hello everyone. My name is Pritam Paul, and welcome to another video. And this is not just a simple video for me. It's a very special video on this channel. It's not about like that. It's about means. It's not like that. It's about Google interview experiences. It's nothing like that. It is very special because my friend got Google as a software engineer, and this is really a very special moment for me also because once upon a time we were in college in third year. At night at his home he told me that just Pritam, just wait that one day I will crack Google for sure, and I'm really very proud of him that he got Google in 2021. So here, this is the interview experiences. Not only about the interview experiences, it's about the journey which he had been gone through before joining Google. On 23rd August, he joined Google, obviously, but it's not about that only 1 or 2 year preparation. It's about on entire college life preparation, and after that he had worked in two different startups, which is Pogoport and Zoomcar as a backend developer. So it's all about all everything. It's a compact story which you need to listen because it's really very inspiring, and obviously you will learn a lot of things from him. So definitely watch the video till the end and try to understand how you should frame your profile and how you should go through. Obviously it's nothing like any compact way to crack Google. There is nothing definite way. Obviously everyone has their own experiences, own journey, own learning attitude, own learning path. Obviously you should definitely try to understand that how a Googler actually been up ready for the interview. So it's not about not a small thing. Okay, so without wasting the time, guys, let's start the video. Obviously Urnavu is known to all because we have done 4 episodes on how to prepare for software company playlist, and obviously there are more episodes are coming soon, but still I would like to request him to introduce himself because most of the viewers might be new on this channel. So please, Urnavu, please introduce yourself.
Thanks, Pritam. I am Arunav Bhattacharjee. I graduated from NIT Agartala in 2018 in the branch of Computer Science and Engineering. So after that, I worked in two companies like Cogoport and Zoomcar. So and then after that, I recently joined in Google as a software engineer in Bangalore. That's all for the introduction. I guess.
Okay, so as I have said that we would be exploring your own means whole entire journey. So let's start from the school life. That means where did you means where are you from and where you have done your schoolings and all. Let's talk about that first.
Okay. So I was born in Agartala only, and my entire school life was based on Bhavan Tripura Vidya Mandir, which is affiliated to Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan. And then I passed from Bhavan in 2014. So it was that moment when I was searching for colleges, like where to go, which engineering degree to pursue, and then I ended up at NIT Agartala.
Okay, so you have chosen means computer science is your means pre-planned, like you always wanted to be in computer science department or means anything like that. Means most of the people think that means who got Google, they means they plan for everything from the very beginning of their career in computer science like that. Is it like that or something else is there? Please tell us about that.
Sure. No, there was no such plans at all. See, when we are in college, right, then we don't know what the industry looks like. What would happen when we go to some company, and what would be the work looking like. Similarly, when we are in school, we are not sure what a college looks like, an engineering college looks like, what are the different degrees, what the work is there is for a specific degree, and then related to jobs, what jobs look like. So we have no such idea. When at least I didn't have any such idea in schooling. So what happened is that there is a fun fact here. So in school, I liked chemistry much, and then I felt like, okay, let's go for the chemical engineering. I was kind of determined that okay, let's pursue chemistry only as my career. And then something happened. So what happened was actually I watched some. I was just entering Hollywood, like embracing Hollywood films to, and then finally I watched some one day Iron Man 1, and at that movie, everyone is aware, right, of Jarvis, this whole
Yeah.
AI program. And
Yeah.
I think not only me, but a lot of people are there who are very much inspired by this whole AI thing at that point. So that grew that interest in me, and I ended up like, okay, I have to study computer science only, and I got enrolled in computer science in NIT Agartala. But
Okay.
now when I look back at it, it is laughable. But these small decisions are the ones which, at the end, collectively shape your future.
But now, means after entering NIT Agartala, that let's talk about your first year and second year journey. That how did you start your career as an BTech student?
Sure, sure. So again, one even after I entered NIT Agartala, so the classes were ongoing, and still we didn't have any clue like what to do next. The only thing that made sense is that there are exams at every semester, and we have to perform well to get a good CGPA, because at the end, somewhere or the other, it will help. So that was my only goal, at least for the first year. So I just concentrated on the exams and tried to get a decent CGPA. But with respect to computers, there was I didn't have any experience, or I didn't even try to get some experience in any particular domain in computer science at all in my first year.
Okay. But as you all know that in first year there was a subject in introduction to programming. So is was it the first time when you have been introduced to programming, or in school also? As you all know that in CBSE schools there are some programming subjects. So is it like that, that you are the first time in first year, or like that? What exactly it is? Yeah.
Okay, okay. I was introduced to programming in school itself. So yeah, I had C++ in our school as an elective in class 11 as well as class 12, and it was interesting. There are no doubt. But at the end, chemistry was my most favorite at the time. But gradually it changed.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, I was familiar with the programming concepts, the basic ones, which is asked in those boards, in the pre-boards and boards and so on. And in the college, when I got introduced to the programming classes in first year, so they were kind of a refresher course. Like the background that I had in school in programming, it helped.
Okay. Okay, then after first year, when you entered into computer science department, then please tell us about that journey. That means how the things happened after year by year, first, second year, then third year, and all. So please tell us about that.
Sure, sure. So as I mentioned, first year was kind of only dedicated to semester exam, or nothing as such for computers. In the second year, we usually get to know, right, that there are things like trainings and internships and so on. So I also was looking for kind of an internship that we can do, preferably in the second year winter, or maybe just in the summer before the third year starts. So that was one thing which was in my mind. Like, I have to get one decent internship at least by the end of the second year. And then another thing which I got introduced to in my second year is that we had a very nice seniors in our college who introduced us to the concepts of these DSLGO, which we commonly know as the data structures and algorithms, and how important they are to someone who is studying computer science. And then they also introduced to us the concept of competitive programming. Like, there are contests which are happening all over the internet, and you can participate in them. So these contests will have problems based on these data structures and algorithms which you have to solve. And then you can build your profile in a way, like competing in this contest. You can keep it in your resume, and even you get rewards and swags as well if you participate in some specific contest and you win it. So this was a formal introduction that I had from my seniors, and I slowly started getting attached to it. Like, I saw how they are performing, what resources they are using, and they were helpful. So whenever I had doubts, like how should I proceed in this particular field of the competitive programming, so I reached out to them. They also shared, but it was just an introduction, I would say. Like, I was not very much I didn't dive much into it at that point, but I just knew that this is something that I like apart from the semester exam. This was my progress until the second year, and also at the end of the second year, there was a training which I did at NIC along with my friends there. So we developed a project based on web development, but frankly speaking, my contribution there was absolutely zero, because at that point my knowledge about servers and HTTP and all this was very much limited, and I was not very much interested also. I don't know why at that point, but just once the project was completed, I went to the project and so okay, this is the thing, this is the source code, but my contribution wasn't there.
So just like
But
an introduction at there in Gurkha Basti. So yeah.
yeah, it was just a very small introduction to how web development looks like, but didn't go. I didn't dive into it.
So after end of the second year, when you entered into third year, so you, as I know that you have been introduced to competitive coding. So please tell us about your entire competitive coding journey in during your entire third year.
Yes. Like I mentioned already, I got a little introduction to this competitive programming in my second year itself from my seniors. And then in third year also, apart from the semester coursework which we have to do, this whole idea of practicing data structure algorithms, writing code, which in C++, which I preferred at that point, and then say participating in contests. This was kind of fun, and with time it became addictive as well, because the whole idea that there will be problems, logical problems, which you have to solve, and these are much like I would say brain teasers or puzzles, which I am very fond of. So and you also get to learn and practice, but in the other hand, you also get to use your brain and try to find the solutions to problems, and the whole process is kind of fun. And then we also know that these are very much important later when you are going to apply and sit at campus placements, or maybe try for
Yeah,
offline
for the product
placements
based
as well.
companies. Yeah.
Yeah, I think in general for any company, they kind of at the end ask you questions based on data structure algorithms. Then they also have their own coding rounds. And if you already have a good enough practice when you were at college, then this really helps at that point. So combining all those factors, I decided that I would primarily focus on this. I have to build a good profile and make myself stronger in this particular domain. So like I enrolled in websites like CodeChef, HackerRank, HackerEarth, and then tried to practice as much as possible problems and participated in their monthly contests. And also, meanwhile, I also communicated with other people in my batch, as also with my seniors who were interested in the same domain. So because once you have a group of people who are working on a particular thing, then you also get the motivation, right? Otherwise, if you are the only person working on a particular thing, then at some point you might feel like you are getting left out, or what you are doing, is it correct or not. But once you see that okay, people are there who are doing this, and they are also motivating you, they are trying to resolve your doubts when they happen, so then you feel like okay, this is a path, and I have to go with this. So that was basically the whole of third year. I focused only on this data structure algorithm thing on, and finally, after the end of third year, I also got a chance to do an internship in IIT Guwahati.
IIT Guwahati.
So this internship, yes, yes. So so the selection was based on CGPA. So that CGPA and the whole focusing on semester exams finally helped to get the
9 point
internship.
huh?
But yeah, so from a getting the internship point of view, I would say this really helped, this CGPA thing. So because most of the IRTs, they have such kind of criteria. So
Yeah.
and at that point I was like, okay, I have to get it somewhere, because I don't want to spend the summer just at my home and doing nothing. So I was kind of very much and I enjoyed it, like when I went there, and the whole internship happened, and it was primarily a research internship actually. So there was a professor who gave us a work, and this work also involved some amount of data structure algorithms. So kind of I went back to the domain that I liked the most. So it was kind of a happy thing for me, and I also got a flavor like how research looks like. And finally, that culminated with a research paper, which our professor only told like you can go ahead and publish it. So that was, I think, the progress which I made till third year. Yeah.
Okay. So obviously the competitive coding part obviously helps a lot, and everyone knows that. But how did you prepare for the campusing? And as I know that you got Oracle, but you didn't went there, you didn't go there. Besides that, means instead of that, you applied for other off-campus startups also. So you why did you choose the startups? Means why did you choose the to join startup? Please tell us about everything. Like means the entire final year thing. Yeah.
Sure, sure. Before we go to the final year, I think I missed out one important point from third year itself. So in third year, I also tried competing for the ACM ICPC contest, which generally happens in November, December time. And like I and a few of my friends out in the same batch, we formed a team and like we participated in the contest. So this contest is like from every college you get the top teams out there, and then they fight for the spots in the nationals. And then once you get to the top rankings in the nationals, then you represent your country in the international. So kind of a very prestigious tournament. So I was interested in it, and like we also got this chance of going out, and we got the first position in our college. And then our whole team we went out and participated in the nationals. And the reason for mentioning is that this is also a booster I feel in my profile, and I would also recommend like if anyone is practicing competitive coding, so don't just limit yourself to contests and all. You also need to see like what are the other opportunities that you can grab by using this data structure and for this knowledge you have. And ACMICPC is I think one of the pinnacle of those opportunities. Okay, so that was all about this third year. Now
Yeah.
you were asking about
Final year part.
campus placement.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in final year, like the campus placements happened, and there was Oracle came to our campus, and again the interviews, the questions were based on some questions were based on just puzzles, some questions were based on data structures, algorithms itself, and then some questions were based on project. Now, like I mentioned, right, that my primary focus was only on to competitive programming and do improve on my DSL skills. But meanwhile, I also tried to create some projects at least get to know how GitHub works and how Git works actually. And like at least keep one or two projects in my repository so that at the end in interview, I can at least tell them that, okay, I have made this project by myself. So one such project which I did was based on compression and decompression. Like you give it a text file and it will compress it, and then it will also decompress it if you want. It was a very small project. The other project which I did was on IIT Guwahati, like I mentioned, the research internship. So that project was also hosted in my GitHub account, and these projects were also asked in the interview. Like for example, in Oracle, they asked about this project, and then they asked me to explain. So this happened, and I finally got selected, and it was a very joyful thing because after all, it was the first company in my career which I could crack. And the thing is, once after 2 months, I also noticed another hiring challenge in HackerUp. So that was from Kogopur, and the compensation there was quite high compared to what Oracle was giving on campus. So I felt why should not I give it a try, and I gave the try. I solved the questions in the contest, and then there was some telephonic round, and finally I made it. So the primary choice of choosing that over Oracle is mostly the compensation part because it was kind of a big jump. But apart from that, there is no such factor why I chose the startup over Oracle.
Okay. But obviously we all know that you cracked gate also. And so not only guys, means this guy is an amazing person, you know, means on campus चैन नहीं मिला, फिर ऑफ कैंपस मतलब बहुत ज्यादा सैलरी था वहां पे, हम लोग सीटीसी डिस्कस नहीं कर सकते अभी यहाँ पे, बट उसके बाद भी उसका दिल नहीं भरा, उसने ग्रेड भी क्रैक कर डाला, ठीक है, तो वी विल टॉक अबाउट दैट आल्सो. प्लीज शेयर योर गेट स्कोर एंड हाउ डिड यू प्रिपेयर एंड ऑल. In short, obviously we can't take it more longer because we have to cover a lot of story, so please tell us about that.
Sure, sure. Yeah, GATE is another exam which you can give when you are, say, in the computer science branch, or at least try to pursue your career in computer science. So I didn't have very concrete plans around master, But what I knew is that this exam is interesting because the questions there is like there is a small FT section, and then the other questions are purely based on the computer science domain, and like the questions are itself brain teasing because these are not the theoretical questions which you have to study for semesters. These are the questions which are objective and they are interesting to solve, irrespective of whether you can finally solve it or not. So I gave it a try, and I like for preparing for the exam, like I relied on like there are plenty of free resources in YouTube. There is just plenty. So I just relied on those resources and watched videos and also the regular work that we do for semesters, right? Like these also comes into play when you are preparing for GATE. So finally, it was a nice experience, and I got, as far as I remember, it was I got an AIR of 918 in my GATE attempt at 2018.
So after your BTech, you joined Cogoport. So where was the posting and what are the things you have done in the company? So please tell us about that.
Yes, the posting was in Mumbai, and since it was a startup, so I was expected to learn very fast and try to contribute to the production code as fast as I can. Now, as I mentioned, that I didn't have prior web development experience in college, so initially it felt a little hard for me, like a lot of things to learn at a very fast pace. And in the first month in the company, I worked primarily on front end. So like I had to learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript from scratch, and then they used React and Redux. So I also had to read and use those frameworks. And this was all for the first month. From the second month, I was shifted to the backend team, which was using Ruby on Rails as their backend framework. And after all things started getting interesting, like slowly I developed interest in databases, SQL, then queries, and also then they also used NoSQL initially. So I also get an idea of how NoSQL looks like, what are the trade-offs between like using SQL and NoSQL databases. So overall it was a very interesting experience, very fast paced. So the learning curve was steep, but and it sometimes there was a kind of a pressure, like you have to deliver at a very like the deadlines were coming up and you have to, there is no other way, you have to just work a huge number of hours and you have to deliver it. And so the pressure was there, but also the learning was interesting. I stayed there for about 1.5 years, and during my stay there, they also started a new office in Bangalore. So my team shifted to Bangalore. So it was that point when I moved from Mumbai to Bangalore, and till now I'm residing here only.
Okay. So after that, you switched to Zoom car also, right? So there also what you have done and all, and please tell us about that.
Sure, sure. So in when I left Cogoport, I had about 1.5 years of experience. Then I started looking out for companies who are hiring. So again, there was I also at that point I got a chance to apply for Google also. So there were several rounds conducted, but I couldn't make it at that point. So then I appeared for other companies, like then I appeared for VMware and then appeared for Zoomcar. I got selected in both of them, but finally decided that I shall go forward with the Zoomcar. And I joined there in March of 2020.
Okay. And Zoom car means what is the profile and what are the things you have done? Yeah.
Yeah, so in Zoomcar, the profile was a backend developer because in Cogoport also, for the most of the part that I stayed there, the work that I did was primarily based on backend, and also the tech stack matched because they are also Ruby on Rails, and in Zoomcar also I was hired as primarily a Ruby on Rails developer. So the initial few months in Zoomcar, I worked on specifically Ruby on Rails. And then in my team, we were using Java and Golang. So I was introduced to the Golang language and how it is used as a backend service. And from then, like I worked about like 8 to 10 months in Golang. It's a very interesting language. And yeah, last recently, a month or two back, I left Zoomcar.
Okay. So what do you think that now you got Google, but at that time you haven't cracked it, right? So what do you think that what are the mistakes at that time? Can you please tell us about that?
Sure, sure. Okay, so in Google, whenever you are applying and you are giving the rounds and say you at the end you are not getting selected, even in that case, the recruiters are very transparent about what happened well, what happened bad, and everything. So you can always reach out to your recruiter and ask her, okay, that what is the exact issue which was there in my profile for which I finally got rejected. So whenever, so like the Google interviews which I gave on 2020, like before joining Zoomka, they are also like, if I remember correctly, there were about 7 to 8 rounds in total. And then at the the individual rounds I passed, but what happens in Google is that once you pass the individual round, your packet or the total collective information from all the rounds, they are sent to a hiring committee. So this is the central authority which decides whether a person will get the job or not after passing those individual rounds. And there I got rejected. So then I reached out to the recruiter and asked her like what was the issue because since I was passing the individual rounds, my confidence was kind of very at a high because I was feeling like everything is going in my way, but suddenly this rejection. And then she explained that yeah, your rounds were good, but the code quality wasn't good. It was not at the production level, and not only for the production level, there are some good practices which we should follow while we are writing code. Not only in a particular company, but also when you are giving interviews, you should be serious about the code you write. And there, my coding abilities were not very interesting. So now when I think about it, it makes sense because in most of the interviews, I focused mainly on developing the algorithm, like discussing with the interviewer, and the whole communication was verbal. Like, okay, I will do this, I will do that, and by the time I go to coding, it was I got a very little amount of time, and I managed the time very poorly at that point. And another mistake which I did was even when I was coding, I like there are some good practices, right, which you should follow generally, like coding in a modular wise, like don't reuse code, then make it readable, like also the naming of variables. I knew a little part of those tactics, but I didn't enforce them in my interviews. And at the hiring committee stage, all that is left is your code, right? They just review your code and the comments from the individual round. And if your code does all the talking. So even if your individual rounds went good, if your code is sluggish and if it looks like okay, what he has written, I am not able to understand, then it will be a very bad impression. And I think that's actually what happened at my case. So so coming to the interviews that I gave this time, so this time I was very much aware that I have to solve this issue. Also here there was a dilemma because even before starting your round, the recruiter asks you that which is your preferred programming language. Now for me, I already failed in C++, right? So this time I was feeling that okay, I can try for C++ again because I all my competitive programming which I did during my college time was on C++, so I have a good experience on that. But I also had a good experience in Go, like Golang, in my when I was in Zoomka. And so like the practices that followed in the industry, I have at least experience and work with those ideas, and I could use them in my interview. But then I finally decided let's not take the risk. Let's go ahead with C++ only, since this is the language which I have always used for such DSLO questions. Just I have to make sure that this time when I write the C++ code, although I have no experience of writing this code in industry, because in all the companies I worked for, C++ was not used. So although I don't have this experience, still I should research in the internet, look for the best practices. And Google itself has its own C++ guide, style guide, which is public to all. And I also went through this document trying to see what practices they follow. So these are small things which you can feel like, okay, these are just something tactical sugar, but they finally play a part. And I tried to use them in the interviews that I gave recently, and trying to make my code look as much readable as possible. And even there were cases when there was some kind of algorithm thinking which was going on in my mind, but I knew that if I keep on iterating over the same mistake again, I will end it will at the end I will just get about 5 to 10 minutes, and I have to code at that point, and again things will go wrong. So I stopped myself at that point, and even if the algorithm that I'm presenting is not the optimized one, I know that, but I was like, okay, like I communicated with the recruiter, with the person who interviewed me at the specific round, that due to time constraints, I'm going to start coding now. And at the end, if there is some time left, I will revisit again the code and try to improve it. So this strategy kind of helped me this time, and things worked out well.
Okay, so you have talked about most of the things, but I would like to ask few questions. Like, how many rounds were there? And as you told me that it was a long interview, means bandwidth. So, how many days they took to conduct the whole interview? What are the rounds, and what kind of rounds they are exactly? Can you please share about that? Means everyone must be curious to know about this thing, you know. So that's why, yeah.
Sure, sure. So I was contacted in April. So actually, April 1st, April Fool's Day, by a recruiter from Google, and she mentioned to me like, okay, I know that I am aware that you have already given interviews last year and you couldn't make it. So are you interested to give interviews again? And it started from then. Like I took a month of time to practice. Now when you are already working on your daily job, it becomes tough to practice, right? Because from Monday, from like the work days, and also from morning to evening, you will be engrossed in your in the job that you are doing in your company. So then at the night, you will try to read up on materials, like do some practice in HackerRank, and then there is also an interesting book called Grokking Algorithm by Aditya Bhargav. So it also helped me to revise some concepts which I studied back in college. But yeah, like in May there were a few rounds scheduled, and like there were three technical rounds and one googliness round, which is actually, you can say, the cultural fit round. And once I could overcome these, then the recruiter mentioned to me that those rounds were specifically for L3 position. So you have two options. You can either accept the L3 position right away, or if you want to try for L4, then you will have to appear for two more technical rounds. So I was like, okay, I can attempt it. So then two more rounds were scheduled in June. These were also purely based on data structures and algorithms. And if you ask about like what are the specific topics of the data structure algorithm that were asked, like it was a plethora of topics, like from graphs, arrays, then binary search, then two pointers, and they also keep a track of what are the topics that you are tested upon. Like for example, in my L3 interviews, all the three technical rounds were based on purely graph algorithms. So when I appeared for L4, the recruiter told me that you have been already tested for graphs. Now other topics will also come up, and that was the case. The next two in technical rounds didn't involve graphs in them, but they tested me on some other part of the data structure algorithm domain. And finally, in June, these rounds got completed. Then there is more procedure, like you have to negotiate your compensation. Then you have to also take part in meetings with managers if they like you and you like the team of the manager. And if it's a match, then only the whole process will get carried forwarded. And it happened. And then finally, in August, I got the final offer letter from Google.
That means it took, I guess, 3 to 4 months, right? 3 months,
Yeah,
I guess.
it started from
Yeah.
April. Ended at August.
Okay. And what is the means a band gap of time between two rounds? Means obviously they will give some time to prepare for that round, especially I guess, because obviously we all know that everyone can't remember everything. Obviously, no, at the same time. So I guess they must give some time to use. So please tell us about that one. What are the time gaps approximately?
Sure. You have the authority to decide on when you want to give the interview. So, like they give you a calendar and you mark yourself. Like, okay, I want my interviews to be scheduled on this day. And it is not like you have to schedule everything in a single day. It's up to you. Like you can manage it anyhow, because they also understand that you are also working on a company. So it cannot happen like you have a meeting in your company and at that point they have scheduled a round. So they are considerate in that aspect. So once you give those dates to them, then they find out the people who are available at that in those dates, and then they schedule the interview. So in my case, I schedule them in a way that they don't very much get conflicted with the ongoing work in my company. So like I try to keep mostly one interview a day, and so and also took a good amount of time to prepare before the next interview. So this is the actual reason why it's stretched like from April to August.
So yeah, as I know that you are a good competitive coder in Code Chef, so can you please tell that what is the important role of competitive coding practicing on those websites? Means it helped you, how it helped you while you would be switching to other companies like Kogopod to Zoomka to Google or VMware interview or the past Google experience also, means how it helped. Actually, obviously, we all know that it's all about data structures and properly algorithm, because as a developer, you must know all of these things. So obviously, competitive coding would be having a great important part. So what do you think that how much important role it carries out while taking giving some interviews? Yeah.
Yes. Data structure algorithms are kind of the norm now in every company when you give the interviews. So at least the first 2 or 3 rounds are primarily focused on this thing. Then things like projects, your past experience, these things also come up. But say specifically say to Google, all the rounds were purely based on data structures and algorithms. There was no consideration of what I was working on in my current company, what was my past experience. Nothing was important for the specific level which I was applying for. And so I would say that this whole competitive programming journey which I did in my college, this can be the most important reason why I could finally get into Google, because like uh, they would test you on a variety of subjects, and it is not possible for you to remember all those things at every point of time, right? Like when you keep on working on some particular tech stack in your company, in your current company, and then you get engrossed yourself to say with like say design problems, databases and all, and suddenly you are asked to invert a binary tree. So this is very very difficult. So the thing is, if you already have some experience from college, if say for in my case I already did competitive programming, solved TSLO questions say for 1 year or about 2 years I would say in college. So there is kind of a photographic memory of things. So even in the actual questions which were asked in the interview, not all the questions are you are prepared for, but if you had prior experience, then you can at least get the slight idea that okay, maybe this question is looking for this, or maybe this question is pointing to a particular data structure. And once you get this idea, then you start developing on it. And I would say that for that, good amount of practice is required, because if you try to say learn a lot of things in a week or two, and you think that okay, you have now learned a good amount of topics, you are prepared, it is very probable that you will be caught off guard, and some specific question which would require something very very different which you are not aware of, this would come up and you must fail. So this whole competitive programming journey enabled me to keep a good amount of topics in my memory, and this eventually helped out in the interview.
Okay. So finally, at the end, would you like to give some tips to the aspirants who are planning, or we are not planning actually, who are dreaming to go to be a Google employee after all? So please share the thing. Yeah.
Yes, sure, sure. So definitely there are certain things which one should take care about. So like not only to Google, but I think this applies to most of the top MNCs, or even say in startups as well. There will be rounds which will be talking about your projects where you have to show your past experience and your skills which you have developed in the industry. But then there will always be the rounds which will test you on those data structure algorithm questions. And so one needs to be very, very well prepared for this thing. And you should understand that this is kind of a journey. You cannot, if, and I think you should not think of solving it maybe in a month or two and keeping the attitude like, okay, I have an interview. Just 1 month before that, I will do only coding and then I will crack it. You might crack it, but the chance is comparatively less, I would say. I would say that you keep on practicing and practicing and practicing, and these all the things that you practice, they are not in vain. They will be present in your memory in some part of the memory, and at the right time in the interview, even if you didn't see the actual question, because it is a very the probability that you will face a new question is very high. They don't repeat questions. No company repeats questions. So when you get a question, at least from your memory you can get the idea, like, okay, this question is asking for this particular data structure or particular algorithm. So if say you are in college now, do spend some time on solving data structure algorithm problems, diving into the subject. You will also have semester courses also around it, but don't just rely on the particular semester. Make it a journey over the course of say 2 or 3 years. If you want to go into projects and all, feel free to do so, but at least some part of your time should be reserved for practicing data structure and algorithm questions.
Okay, so I would like to add one thing that with the audience, few people tell that means it's about the luck, that when at that moment of time you would be having that idea, that proper algorithm would be coming into your mind and you will be describing it in front of the interviewer. So let me tell one thing, that it's not about luck. It's about the practice. It's about the past. What should I say? Means it's about the past, I guess, the perseverance or the disciplined manner in which by which you would be preparing yourself for the competitive coding. That part of your journey would help you to means to guess those kind of concepts, to solve that kind of problem during the interview. It's not about the luck, it's about the practice, as you have said. So that's why I guess it's very much important to practice all these things. But again, in the previous video also, Ayush Bhaiya told that he haven't gone through any competitive coding and all, and he practiced in his own way, as he have shared in that video. And by the way, if you didn't watch that video, when it would be in the description or in the I button also. So in that video, he also shared his own journey to be an SDE2 at Amazon. That's not a small thing also, right? So there are lots of ways to do all these things. But I think personally, I also think that competitive coding is the more and more effective way to do all these things in an excellent level. So obviously you should go for that. And by the way, guys, means if you are watching the whole video, then obviously let me know in the comment section that you have watched the whole video, and I would be feeling very happy if you have watched all the things. And obviously, if you need any kind of guidance from him, I would be putting his LinkedIn profile in the description. You can contact him. Okay, so don't worry. And yeah, so this is that video all about the thing. I guess it must be inspiring you to prepare well for the companies and obviously for the other startups and all, means in the off campus, on campus, everywhere. So yeah, this is the thing. And once again, guys, if you are new to the channel, please do support the channel by subscribing it and press the bell icon, because in upcoming days also I would be interviewing a lot of people, and I would be uploading a lot of videos on different company experiences, and obviously in higher study programs also, as you have seen in the channel. So please hit the like button if you like this video, and let us know through comments below if anything you want to ask. Then if the questions would be much more than the normal one, then we would try to make a Q&A session. Obviously we would be answering all the questions. I would try to make it possible because you would be very busy after a few days. So let's see. And yeah, this much for today, and see you on the next video.